Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalam ala Imam al-Anbiya wal Mursaleen, Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma arna al-haqqa haqqan wa razaqna tiba'ah, wa arna al-batila batilan wa razaqna shnaba. Brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to this another of our sittings. We shall be continuing with the Tafseer of Surah Al-Furqan. Tafseer has proven to be popular with the brothers and sisters. We had 70 nicks yesterday. People who are pious, they love Tafseer. People who love Allah and love the Quran, they always love Tafseer. Let us continue with the Tafseer of Surah Furqan, Surah 25. And we are on Ayah 21. Allah Ta'ala said about the kuffar, وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ لَا يَرْجُونَ لِقَاءَنَا لَوْلَا أُنزِلَ عَلَيْنَا الْمَلَائِكَةُ أَوْ نَرَى رَبَّنَا. And those who expect not the meeting with their Lord, with us, they do not expect to see resurrection, they do not believe in resurrection, they have doubts about it, or they reject it outright. They will say, why are not the angels sent down to us? Or why do we not see our Lord? They want to see Allah with their naked eye. Allah is teaching you the mentality of kuffar. Indeed, they think too highly of themselves and are scornful with great pride. You think too highly of yourself. If you can't see the creation, you can't look at the sun. If you can't look at the sun, how can you look at Allah? Your request is absolutely ridiculous. Which one of you can look at the sun when the sun is bright? Midday, the midday sun. You will go blind in your eye. So if you can't look at the creation, how can you look at the creator? This doesn't make sense. And Musa alayhi salam asked the same question. وَلَمَا جَاءَ مُوسَى لِمِيقَاتِنَا Surah 7:143. قَالَ رَبِّ أَرَنِي أَنظُرْ إِلَيْكَ. Musa said, my Lord, show me yourself. I want to see you with my naked eye. قال لن تراني, you will never see me. ولكن انظر إلى الجبل, but look at the mountain. فإن استقر مكانه فسوف تراني. If the mountain can stand in its place, then you'll be able to see me. فلما تجلى ربه جبل جعله دكا. So when his Lord appeared to the mountain, he made it collapse to dust. The mountain was reduced to powder and dust. And Musa fell down unconscious. Then when he recovered his senses, he said, glorified are you, I turn to you in repentance, and I am the first of the believers. So a huge, gigantic mountain couldn't stand in its place when Allah exposed himself to the mountain. How can you, the man, stand up if Allah exposed himself to you? You cannot see Allah. So when the kuffar of Mecca demanded to see Allah, Allah said, you think too highly of yourself. You can't even look at the sun, which is the creation. How can you look at the creator? If you look at the sun, you're going to become blind in your eye. You can't look at the midday sun for 5 minutes without blinking. You'll become blind. If you can't look at the creation, how can you demand to look at the creator? However, we will see Allah in the hereafter. We will see Allah in the hereafter. This is the Aqidah of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. You are not allowed to have the Aqidah of the Shiites and the Mu'tazilites who deny seeing Allah in hereafter. And they use the ayah that I just quoted of Surah Al-Araf when Allah said to Musa, Lan tarani, Surah Araf 143. That ayah is not hujjah because Allah was speaking about the dunya. When a person is a deviant, he takes the ayahs out of context. We are not refuting the ayah, we are refuting your understanding of the ayah. We are not refuting the ayah, we are refuting the ayah. That ayah is only for the dunya. But in the hereafter, we shall see Allah. The evidence is Surah 75, verses 22 to 23. وَجُوهٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ نَاظِرَةٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهَا نَاظِرَةٌ. On that day, some faces shall be brilliant looking at their Lord. And they want malaika to teach them the deen. You want malaika, angels, to teach you the deen? Had Allah sent angels to teach you the deen, you would refuse to practice and say we can't practice. And you will use it as an argument against Allah. But Allah sent a man like you, a Bashar, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like you, to teach you the deen so that you can't use it as an argument against Allah on the day of judgment. Ayah 22 of Surah Al-Furqan. يوم يرون الملائكة لا بشرى يومئذ للمجرمين ويقولون حجرا محجورا. On the day they will see the malaika, the angels, no glad tidings will there be for the criminals, the disbelievers. And there is no glad tidings for the disbelievers on that day. And the reason why there is no glad tidings for the criminals on that day is because of the evil deeds they perpetrate when they were in the dunya. So the angels will speak to some people. The angels will speak to them when they snatch their souls, and the angels will speak to them even on the day of judgment. The angels will speak to some people at the time when they are snatching their souls, and they will speak to them again on the day of judgment. So the angels will speak to some people when they are snatching their souls. They'll say to them, why is their situation so pathetic? Surah Nisa, verse 79. They'll say to the angels, we were weak and oppressed in the land. The angels will say, wasn't Allah's earth spacious enough for you to make hijrah? Why did you stay among the kuffar who stopped you from practicing the deen? Now, somebody sent me a link of a Muslim sister being beaten up in Belgium because she wore the niqab. Obviously, she would be a Moroccan or an Algerian. A Moroccan or an Algerian or a Tunisian, North African Arab woman in Belgium. The kuffar of Europe are not tolerant of righteousness. You'll never see a Muslim woman being beaten up in an African country for wearing the niqab or in a Caribbean country. These things take place in Europe because the kuffar of Europe, they are not tolerant of righteousness and they have a history of ethnic cleansing. They were the ones who introduced apartheid, they introduced concentration camps, and they introduced ethnic cleansing. All these things are European concoctions, European introductions. So this woman beaten up in Belgium for wearing the niqab. Somebody sent me that link yesterday. I can't remember who sent it, but somebody sent it. The angels will say to you, why is your situation so pathetic? You'll say to the angels, we were weak and oppressed in the land. The angels will say to you, wasn't Allah's earth spacious enough for you to migrate, to immigrate? Why did you stay in Europe and become beaten up? You got beaten up for wearing the niqab and the hijab, or you got beaten up for having a beard. So the angels will speak to people. The angels will speak to people on different occasions. And the angels will beat people as well. Not only speak to people, according to what Allah told us in the Quran, the angels will beat people as well at the time of taking their souls. Now, Surah 8, verse 50 is the Hujjah. وَلَوْ تَرَى إذ يتوفى الذين كفروا الملائكة يضربون وجوههم وأدبارهم وذوقوا عذاب الحريق. Surah 8 verse 50. And if you could see when the angels take away the souls of those who disbelieve at death, they smite their faces and their backs, saying, taste the punishment of the blazing fire. So the commentator put in bracket, the angel will smite their faces and their backs at death. So the angels will speak to some people and the angels will beat some people when they are taking their souls. Surah 6 verse 93. Bring me another evidence. Surah 6 verse 93. And who can be more unjust than he who invents a lie against Allah, or say a revelation has come to me whereas no revelation has come to him with anything, and who says I will reveal the like of what Allah has revealed. And if you could but see when the Zalimun and the wrongdoers are in the agonies of death, when they are in the agonies of death, while the angels are stretching forth their hands, saying, deliver your souls. This day you shall be recompensed with the torment of degradation because of what you used to utter against Allah other than the truth. Because you claim that you can reveal a book like Allah revealed the book. You made claims, you lie on Allah, and you used to reject the signs of Allah with disrespect. So this is another evidence that the angels will speak to people. Some people, the angels will beat them. Whenever a believer is going to die, the angel sits by his head and said, Ya ayyatuha nafsul mutma'inna, O you peaceful soul, you tranquil soul, come out to the mercy of your Lord and his rida, his pleasure. And the angel will take his soul in a peaceful manner, a tranquil manner, in a respectful manner. And the soul emits the sweetest of smell, and the angel of death passes it on to other angels that will wrap the soul up, and they take it up to show to Allah. And Allah will say, write this soul down in Illiyin and return the soul to the body in the grave to be questioned. And when his body and soul is reunited, he can hear the footsteps of all those who attended the janazah. But when the soul of an unbeliever will be taken, angels with rough faces will sit at his head and say, Ya ayyatuha nafsul khabitha, you soul which is khabith, you stinking soul, come out to the wrath of your Lord and his displeasure. The soul will refuse to hand himself over to the angel. So the angel will grab his stinking soul and rip it from his bosom. The Prophet said it's like the cat that plays with the cushion, and you can see the threads of the cushion protruding. So this person, his soul will be pulled from his bosom violently. And this is the tafsir of the surah وَالنَّازِيَاتِ غَرْقًا وَالنَّاشِطَاتِ نَشْطًا. Surah 79. Surah Nazi'at. Allah said, I swear by the angels that rips the souls of the believers viciously from their bosom. Those stinking souls. And then Allah said, وَالنَّاشِطَاتِ نَشْطًا. I swear by the angels who take the souls of the believers from their bosom with peace and tranquility. Surah 79, Surah Nazi'at. Now, I have told you that there are people who the angels will beat them when they take their soul violently. But as for the believers, their encounter with the angels will be a wonderful encounter. Surah 41, Surah Fussilat, verses 30 to 32. الذين إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا وأبشروا بالجنة التي كنتم توعدون نحن أولياؤكم في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة ولكم فيها ما تشتهي أنفسكم ولكم فيها ما تدعون نزلا من غفور رحيم. Verily those who say our Lord is Allah alone and then they stand firm, ثم استقاموا. And then the angels will descend at the time of their death saying, fear not nor grieve, but receive the glad tidings of paradise which you have been promised. So not everybody, the angel will beat them up when they take their souls, beat them in their faces and their backs. Not everybody. The angel will bring tidings to some people. The angel will say to the believers, fear not nor grieve, but receive the glad tidings of paradise which you have been promised. We have been your friends in the life of this world and are so in the hereafter. Therein you shall have all that your inner selves desire. Everything you desire in your inner self, we will give it to you. And therein you shall have all for which you ask. And entertainment from Allah, the most forgiving, the most merciful. Now, why the angels were your friends in the dunya? Because when you used to gather in the masjid to do dhikr, the angels used to attend your dhikr gathering. When you used to gather in the masjid for durus, for halqas, and to read the Quran, the angels used to attend. And the Rasul said, تَتَعَاقَبُونَ فِيكُمْ مَلَائِكَةٌ بِاللَّيْلِ. Angels come to your gatherings at night and even in the daytime. So this is what is meant when the angel said, we were your friends in the dunya, because you were true believers. The Rasul said, everybody has a qareen from the jinn and a qareen from the malaika. A qareen means a companion, a friend. You all have a qareen from the jinn and the malaika. So when you were pious in the dunya, the angels, they were your friends. This is what the angels said in Surah Fussilat, we were your friends in the dunya. And today we will never abandon you, we shall be your friends in the akhirah. Prophet Enoch, Idris had a friend from the malaika. And he used to come for him and take him for a ride on his shoulders in the air. Enoch had a friend from the malaika. But Prophet Ibrahim, his friend was Allah. And because of that, he is given the title Khalilullah, the friend of Allah. And we shall turn. Now, before I read the other ayah, the people who will have stinking souls, there are four people: the kafir, the munafiq, the zindiq, the murtad. These four will have stinking souls. So when his soul is ripped from his bosom, it emits a foul smell, the foulest of smell. And when they are taking the soul up to show to Allah, the angels in heaven will say, what a stinking soul, what a foul smell, what a wretched soul. And they will call the soul by the worst names: the kafir, the murtad, the munafiq, and the zindiq. They are the ones who will have stinking souls. There is no guarantee that a sinner will have stinking soul, because of the hadith. If you did not commit sins, Allah will wipe you out of creation and bring about a new creation that would sin. And when they seek Allah's forgiveness, then Allah will forgive them. The word zindiq means a heretic, a person who makes up his own religion. That is a zindiq, a heretic. He makes up his own religion. There is no guarantee that if you are a sinner, your soul will become a stinking soul, because of the hadith. If you didn't commit sins, Allah would wipe you out of creation and bring about a new creation that would sin. And when they turn to Allah with sincere tawbah, then Allah will forgive them. Rasul said, Ya ibadi innakum tukhti'una bil-layli wan-nahar. This is a hadith Qudsi. O my servants, you sin by night and by day, and I forgive all sins. It is haram for you to despair if you sin. It is kufr to despair. Because Allah Ta'ala said in Surah Zumar verse 53 that you are not allowed. Surah Zumar, Surah 39 verse 53. Allah told you in this surah you are not allowed to despair. What did Allah say? قُلْ يَا عِبَادِي الَّذِينَ أَسْرَفُوا عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ لَا تَقْنَطُوا مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ جَمِيعًا إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ. Say, O my slaves who have transgressed against themselves by committing all types of haram activities, do not despair from the mercy of Allah. Verily, Allah forgives all sins. Truly, He is the most forgiving, the most merciful. This ayah says Allah forgives all sins, and Allah forgives all sins, even shirk. Therefore, if you are a mushrik and you make tawbah, Allah will forgive you. But if you are a mushrik, a pagan, and you die in a state of shirk, there is no forgiveness for you. You are finished both in this life and the next life. So when Allah said, I forgive all sins, Allah meant even shirk. Allah will forgive you if you commit shirk and then you make tawbah before you die. But if you should die in a state of shirk like the Prophet's uncle Abu Talib, I'm afraid there is absolutely no hope for you. You are finished. Because Allah Ta'ala said, Inna Allah la yaghfir an yushraka bihi wa yaghfir ma duna dhalika liman yasha. Verily, Allah doesn't forgive the crime of shirk, but Allah will forgive anything else to whom He please. Surah Nisa, verse 48. Inna Allah la yaghfir an yushraka bihi wa yaghfir ma duna dhalika liman yasha. Verily, Allah doesn't forgive the crime of shirk, but Allah will forgive anything else to whom He please. This ayah is talking about those who die in a state of shirk, like Abu Talib, the Prophet's uncle. But if you used to be a mushrik, and then you make amends and change your ways, and you make tawbah before you die, Allah will forgive you, because Allah said in Surah Zumar, verse 53, do not give up from the mercy of Allah, do not despair, because Allah forgives all sins, even shirk, as long as you make your tawbah before you die. It's the Khawarij who despairs. A Khawarij, he despairs from the mercy of Allah. And don't forget, when Yaqub was speaking to his sons, he told his sons, no one despairs from the mercy of Allah except the people who are al-kafirun. Surah 12 verse 87. What did he say to his sons? No one despairs from the mercy of Allah except al-kafirun, the unbelievers. So as a Muslim, you are not allowed to despair, even if you do haram, because it is the Khawarij who despair. And they take away your hope. The Khawarij, they take away your hope. So they are totally unforgiving. They are called the Puritans. While the Murji, they are too forgiving. Both have lost the equilibrium. They have lost the middle path. The Murji is too forgiving, and the Khawarij, they are too unforgiving. You are not a Khawarij who despairs from Allah's mercy and take away the hope of the Ummah with no mercy in His heart for the Muslims. Neither are you a Murji who is too forgiving. You are in the middle between these two deviant groups, the two extremes. And we shall turn to whatever deeds they, the disbelievers, the polytheists, did, and we shall make such deeds as scattered floating particles of dust. Ayah 23. What did Allah say? وَقَدِمْنَا إِلَى مَا عَمِلُوا مِنْ عَمَلٍ فَجَعَلْنَاهُ هَبَاءً مَنْثُورًا. You, the kuffar, whatever pious deeds you did in the dunya, we will make it into particle floating dust. Now, take for example a woman like Mother Teresa. She did a lot of good in this world. She fed poor people in Calcutta, India, and many places. A woman like Mother Teresa, who believes that Holy Mary is the mother of God, that God came, Jesus is God, and that God had to depend upon an umbilical cord for his own survival. That God had to depend upon a cord, the umbilical cord, for his own survival. And God had to have the Virgin Mary breed for him and eat for him. Holy Mary, Mother of God. A woman like Mother Teresa, she has absolutely no reward to get in the hereafter. Because Allah told you in Surah Al-Furqan, verse 23, those who are kuffar, whatever pious deeds they did, it's scattered particles of floating dust. No substance, no barakah, no reward. Surah 14 verse 18, I am using Quran to explain Quran because the Quran explains the Quran. Surah 14 verse 18, what did Allah say? The parable of those who disbelieve in their Lord is that their works are as ashes on which the wind blows furiously on a stormy day. They shall not be able to get out of what they have earned. That is the strain far away from the right path. This is another ayah. See, I'm using Quran to explain Quran. Because the Quran resembles the Quran did not contradict the Quran. So every ayah in the Quran, I can find another ayah that resembles it. The ayah, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. Surah 22 verse 11. لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. There is nothing in the heavens above nor the earth below that resembles Allah. لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. Nothing resembles Allah. No one has attributes that resembles the attributes of Allah. The ayah that resembles this ayah, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ, Surah 22 verse 11, the ayah that resembles it is وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٍ in Surah قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٍ, Surah Ikhlas. The Quran did not contradict the Quran. The Quran did not checkmate the Quran. The Quran resembles the Quran. There is nothing like unto him, and he is the all-hearer, the all. That is the ayah. Which ayah it resembles? وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٍ. There is nothing that resembles Allah. Allah has no kufuwan. Allah has no co-equal. I brought you two ayahs that resembles each other. When you give da'wah, you can use anyone as your hujjah. Yet again, I bring you a third ayah to prove to you that the righteous deeds of the kuffar are nothing but a total waste. Surah Nur, Surah 24, verse 39. Allah said, people like Mother Teresa who did righteous deeds, their similitude is like a man in the desert. He is about to die from thirst. When he looked in front of him, he saw water. So he rushed to quench his thirst. But when he got there, it wasn't water, it was just a mirage. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَعْمَالُهُمْ كَسِرَابٍ قِيئَةٍ يَحْسَبُهُ الظَّمْأَ مَاءً حَتَّى إِذَا جَاءَهُ لَمْ يَجِدْهُ شَيْئًا. As for those who disbelieve, their deeds are like the mirage in a desert. The thirsty man, he thinks it is water. Until he comes up to it, he finds that it's not water, it's nothing, it's just a mirage. A person like Mother Teresa will come on Judgment Day expecting to find good deeds piled up because she fed millions of poor people in her lifetime with her charity, the Catholic charity. But she will have nothing to receive as barakah, as reward on Judgment Day, because she did shirk. And Allah said, the kuffar who did haram because of their shirk and their kufr, their good deeds are like a mirage. In another ayah, their good deeds is like the dust, the ashes. The wind blows it away and nothing is left, no substance is left. Why? إِنَّمَا يَتَقَبَّلَ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. Allah will only accept the righteous deeds of the righteous people. Who said these words? Do you remember when Noah had two sons? One was called Cain and one was called Abel. And the sacrifice of Abel was accepted, but the sacrifice of Cain wasn't accepted. And he was worried, how comes my sacrifice wasn't accepted, but your sacrifice was accepted? He said to his brother, إِنَّمَا يَتَقَبَّلَ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. Allah will only accept the righteous deeds of the righteous people. Your sacrifice wasn't accepted because you are not of the righteous. إِنَّمَا يَتَقَبَّلَ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. Surah 5 verse 27. Surah Ma'idah 27. إِنَّمَا يَتَقَبَّلَ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. Ma'idah 27. So he told his brother, your sacrifice was rejected because you are not of the muttaqeen. And Allah said, إِنَّمَا يَتَقَبَّلَ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. Allah will only accept the righteous deeds of the righteous people. So this is why Allah said, the kuffar who did righteous deeds, their deeds is like a mirage in the desert. It's not real water, it's fake water, it's mirage. So don't come to me on Judgment Day and expect me to give you any barakah for the good things you did in the dunya. Because Allah said, إِنَّمَا يَتَقَبَّلَ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. Allah will only accept the righteous deeds of the good people. Who are the good people, the righteous people? The people who are upon Tawheed, not the people who believe in Trinity. The Trinitarians. And even if you are a Christian who believe in one God, a Unitarian Christian, you are not of the Muttaqeen because you didn't accept Muhammad. You didn't accept Muhammad, so you are not of the Muttaqeen. أصحاب الجنة يومئذ خير مستقر وأحسن مقيلا. The dwellers of paradise, those who deserve it through their Islamic monotheism, their righteousness, their faith, will on the day have the best abode and have the fairest of places for repose. Ayah 25. And remember the day when the heaven shall be rent asunder with clouds, and the angels will be sent down with a grand descending. So Allah Ta'ala said the angels will descend on the day of judgment, that day when the heaven shall be rent asunder with clouds, and the angels will be sent down with a grand descending. Now, on that day, 8 angels will carry the throne of Allah. On Judgment Day, 8 angels will be made to carry the throne of Allah. And you are not allowed to doubt this reality because Allah spoke about it in Surah 69, verse 17. وَيَحْمِلْ أَرْشَ رَبِّكَ فَوْقَهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ ثَمَانِيَةٌ. On that day, 8 angels will be made to carry the throne of Allah Ta'ala. And Allah Ta'ala said, وَجَاءَ رَبُّكَ وَالْمَلَكُ صَفًّا صَفًّا. On that day, Allah Ta'ala and the angels will descend in ranks. وَجَاءَ رَبُّكَ وَالْمَلَكُ صَفًّا صَفًّا. Surah 89, verse 22. And the angels will be on its side, and 8 angels will that day bear the throne of their Lord above them. Okay, shukran for the ayah. This proves to you that the throne of Allah is a concrete noun, not an abstract noun. Goofy Sufi says it's an abstract noun. It's not an abstract noun, it's a concrete noun. And because of that, 8 angels will carry the throne. Allah said in Surah 89, verse 22, وَجَاءَ رَبُّكَ وَالْمَلَكُ صَفًّا صَفًّا. And your Lord comes with the angels in rows. That will be the day of judgment. For judgment to take place, for man to be judged. So when Allah Ta'ala said that the angels will come with their Lord in rows, Allah is speaking about the day of judgment. Baqarah 210 is the other ayah that Allah Ta'ala will descend with His angels. Baqarah 210. هل ينظرون إلا أن يأتيهم الله في ظلل من الغمام والملائكة وقضي الأمر وإلى الله ترجع الأمور. Do they then wait for anything other than that Allah should come to them in the shadows of the clouds and the angels? Then the case would be already judged. Unto Allah return all matters for decision. This is another ayah that Allah Ta'ala will descend on Judgment Day with His angels. And Allah will descend to tell the people who will be going to paradise and who will be going to the hellfire. And Allah Ta'ala is Maliki Yawmiddin, the Master of Judgment Day. Maliki Yawmiddin means only Allah knows the date for Judgment Day. It's going to be on a Friday, but we don't know what Friday. Maliki Yawmiddin also means no one can intercede for somebody without the permission of Allah. Man dhalladhi yashfa'u indahu illa bi'idhni. Maliki Yawmiddin also means Allah sends to paradise who He wants, and He sends to the hellfire who He wants, and no one can veto the decisions of Allah. These are the three meanings of Maliki Yawmiddin. It has three meanings, Maliki Yawmiddin. The first meaning, only Allah knows the date for Judgment Day. The Prophet Muhammad told the angel Gabriel, Mal mas'ul anha bi'ala min as-sa'il. The one to whom the question is put doesn't know more than a questioner. I don't know, and you, the angel Gabriel, you don't know. Malik Yawmiddin also means no one can intercede for a mission of Allah. Malik Yawmiddin also means Allah sends to paradise who He wants, and He sends to the hellfire who He wants, and no one can veto the decisions of Allah. These are the three meanings of Maliki Yawmiddin. The 70 on that day will be the true 70, belonging to the Most Gracious. And it will be a hard day for the disbelievers, those who disbelieve in the oneness of Allah. So the sovereignty on that day will be for Allah Ta'ala. On that day, Allah Ta'ala will fold up the heavens in His right hand. Bring me the hadith. Allah will fold up the heavens in His right hand, and the earth in His left hand. He will say, I am the king. Where are the Jabbarun? Where are the tyrants? Where are the kings of the earth? Narrated Abu Hurairah, I heard Allah's Apostle saying, Allah will hold the whole earth and roll all the heavens up in His right hand. And then He will say, I am the king. Where are the kings of the earth? Ana al-Jabbarun, Ana al-Mutakabbirun, Ana al-Muluk. Ana al-Muluk, where are the kings? Ana al-Jabbarun, where are the tyrants? Ana al-Mutakabbirun, where are the proud ones? I am king. So this hadith tells you that the mulk, the sovereignty on that day belongs to Allah and Allah alone. Surah 40 verse 16, Allah said something similar. Surah 40 verse 16, يَوْمَهُمْ بَرِزُونَ لَا يَخْفَى عَلَى اللَّهِ مِنْهُمْ شَيْءٍ. The day when they will all come out, nothing of them will be hidden from Allah. Whose is the kingdom this day? Allah Himself will reply to this question. It is Allah's, the one, the irresistible, Al-Qahhar. Liman al-Mulk al-Yawm. To whom belong the mulk today, the kingdom, the sovereignty? Lillah, it belongs to Allah. Al-Wahid, the one and only. Al-Qahhar, the irresistible. Surah Ghafir, verse 16. So the mulk belongs to Allah and Allah alone on that day. Ayah 27. And remember the day when the Zalimun, the oppressors, the polytheists, the disbelievers will bite at their hands. So they bite their hands. A person bites their hands out of nervousness. This day, Judgment Day, is so terrible and dreadful. It will make a child become white in his hair. Judgment Day will make kids become white in their hair. That's how terrible and dreadful Judgment Day is. It's the day of hasra, the day of regret. I'm going to prove to you that Judgment Day is a day of regret. I'm going to read to you 2 ayahs, 27 and 28, to prove to you that Judgment Day is a day of grief and regret. And remember the day when the Zalimun, the polytheists, will bite at their hands because they're nervous. He will say, oh, would that I had taken a path with the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If only I had followed the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this person is regretting, why didn't I listen to Muhammad? Why didn't I follow Muhammad? This ayah tells you that to believe in Allah is not enough to make you a Muslim. You have to follow Muhammad. So the Unitarian Christians who say we might stand a chance because we don't believe in Trinity. We didn't believe in Trinity, we believe in God alone. We didn't worship Jesus as God. A Unitarian Christian is not a believer enough to go to paradise because this Unitarian Christian did not accept Muhammad. The Rasul said in a hadith found in Sahih Muslim, وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ, by Allah in my soul, لَا يَسْمَعْ بِي يَهُودِي أو نصراني ثم مات ولم يؤمن بي إلا دخل النار. By Allah in whose hand is my soul, any Jew or Christian who heard about me and died rejecting faith in me, such a person will be from the dwellers of the Nar, the hellfire. So this hadith found in Sahih Muslim proves to you that for you to be a Unitarian Christian who believes there is one God, that is not enough to make you a believer. You have to believe in Muhammad. If you want to go to paradise, you have to accept the messengership of Muhammad. Because the Rasul said, by Allah in whose hand is my soul, and a Jew or Christian who heard about me, Muhammad, and then died rejecting faith in me, such a person shall be in the hellfire to abide forever. Sahih Muslim, number 284. So this hadith found in Muslim coincides with the ayah, Surah Al-Furqan, verse 27. Because the man will say, I wish I had followed Muhammad. So what chance does the Parvezi stand? Because the Parvezi, he doesn't follow Muhammad, he only follows Quran. But the Parvezi is a liar, he follows Sunnah. The Parvezi rejecter. We say to the Parvezi, do you pray? He will say, yes, I pray. How many rak'ah did you pray for Fajr this morning? 2 rak'ah. How did you know that Fajr contains 2 rak'ah and Dhuhr 4 rak'ah? Because the Quran didn't tell you that. These things are found in the Sunnah. Do you see how easy it is to checkmate a Parvezi? Do you realize how easy it is to checkmate a Parvezi? A Parvezi is a hadith rejecter. He rejects the Sunnah. You say to him, did you pray Fajr this morning? He says, yes. How many rak'ah did you pray? 2 rak'ah. How did you find out that Fajr contains 2 rak'ah and Dhuhr 4 rak'ah? Because these things are not found in the Quran. They are only to be found in Sunnah. So you, the Parvezi, you follow Sunnah. Because you told me you prayed Fajr this morning, and this means you follow Sunnah. Look how easy it is to checkmate a Parvezi. The Sunnah rejectors. A'udhu Billah. A Parvezi is a liar. He doesn't follow anything, neither Quran nor Sunnah. Because if he was a follower of the Quran, he would follow Sunnah. Because of the ayah found in Surah 3, verse 31. قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي. Say to the people, O Muhammad, if you love Allah, then follow me, Muhammad. Say to the people, O Muhammad, if you really love Allah, follow me, Muhammad. يُحْبِبُكُمْ اللَّهُ وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ. Allah will also love you if you follow Muhammad. Allah will love you and forgive you of all your sins. This is the ayah that proves to you that you have to follow Muhammad. So Judgment Day is a day of grief and regret. In ayah 27 of Surah Al-Furqan, Allah tells you that a man will be filled with grief and regret. Why didn't I follow Muhammad? Why didn't I follow the Messenger of Allah? And the angels will say to the man, Alam ya'tikum nadhir, didn't a warner come to you? Surah Mulk, Surah 67, verse 8. Surah 67, verse 8. Bring me verses 8 to 10. The angels will say to the man, Alam ya'tikum nadhir, didn't a warner come to you? The man will say, قالوا بلى قد جاءنا نذير فكذبنا وقلنا ما نزل الله من شيء إن أنتم إلا في ضلال كبير وقالوا لو كنا نسمع أو نعقل ما كنا في أصحاب السعير. They will say, yes, indeed, a warner did come to us, but we denied him and said, Allah never sent down anything, any revelation. You are in clear error, great error. You are in a great error, a big error. And they will say, had we but listened or used our aql, if only we use our aql, aql means the intellect, we would not have been among the dwellers of the blazing fire. Allah gave us aql and we didn't use it. And because we didn't use our aql, we are now in the blazing fire. The word aql means the brain. When you went to the Catholic Church and you hear the priest say, Holy Mary, the Mother of God, why didn't you use your aql and said, how can God come from the belly of a woman? When you went to the Hindu temple and they told you that there is a festival called Diwali, the festival of light, and the reason for that is because they light up the city so that Ram can come back into the city, because the god Ram could not see in the dark. And we didn't want him to trip over and hurt himself, so we light up the city. Why didn't you use your aql and say, how can a god cannot see in the dark? Why didn't you use your aql? When the Taliban blew up the Buddha in Afghanistan, why didn't you use your aql and said, if the Buddha is God, why didn't he defend himself? Why didn't you use your aql and said, if Buddha is God, why didn't he defend himself against the Taliban? How can God be born from the womb of a woman when the Catholic priest said, Holy Mary, Mother of God? When you went to the Diwali festival, the festival of light, and they said Ram was coming back into the city and they had to light up the city because he couldn't see in the dark. Our God couldn't see in the dark, so we light up the city. Why did you say, how can a God cannot see in the dark? Why didn't you use your aql and dump the religion of your parents? Whether it is Christianity or Judaism or Buddhism or Sikhism or Hinduism, why didn't you use your aql? So on Judgment Day, they will say, the reason why we are now in the blazing fire, we are being condemned to the hellfire to abide forever, is because we did not use our aql. We did not use our brain. So we are now in the blazing fire. Now, Allah Ta'ala spoke about people who don't use their aql. Surah 8 verse 22. Allah said there are some individuals in the dunya, they don't use their aql. Surah 8 verse 22. Allah said, Inna sharrad dawab indallah as-sum al-buk alladhina la yaqilun. Verily the worst of moving creatures in the sight of Allah are those who are deaf and dumb. They don't use their aql. They don't use their aql. So Allah said, when you don't use your aql, you don't think for yourself, you are no longer a man. You have lost your status as a man. You are now a dabba, a beast, and you are the worst of beasts. Why do you think when a woman wants to get married, she wants to marry a man who is educated? I arranged many marriages, and the sister said, is he educated? Because she wants a person who can think. Because if you are a husband and a father and the Amir of the house, you have to make decisions, crucial decisions. Women are attracted to men who can think. A man who is intelligent, it is a big turn on for women. A man who is a fool is a big turn off for women. What is a big turn on for women? A person who is intelligent. What's a big turn off? A man who is not intelligent, he can't think. He follows the crowd. He has no brain of his own, he follows the crowd. So those people who are in the hellfire on Judgment Day, they said the reason why we are in the hellfire is because we did not use our aql. If we had used our aql, if we had used our brain, we would not be in the hellfire today. Surah Mulk verse 8 to 10. The other evidence to prove that Judgment Day is a day of hasrah. A man will cry out, Ya waylata laytani lam attakhidh fulanan khalila. Woe be unto me, I wish I didn't choose that man as my friend. Surah Al-Furqan, verse 28. Here again, it proves to you that Judgment Day is a day of grief and regret. A man will cry out, Ya waylata laytani lam attakhidh fulanan khalila. Woe be unto me, I wish I did not choose such and such a person for my friend. The Holy Prophet said, a man belongs to the religion of his friend. You will follow your friend, so choose carefully who you have as a friend. Al-mar ala din khalili. Falyandur ayyukum man yukhalil. You belong to the religion of your friend, so because you belong to the religion of your friend, choose carefully who you take as a friend. Because on Judgment Day you will cry out, woe be unto me, I wish I did not choose such and such a person for my friend. Another evidence to prove that Judgment Day is a day of grief and regret and sorrow is that a man will cry out, Surah 79 verse 40, Ya laytani kuntu turaba. Woe be unto me, I wish I was dust. When he sees the animals, the goats, the sheep, the cows, the dogs, the pigs become dust because there is no judgment for them. Judgment is only for man and jinn. Al-Thaqalain. The word Al-Thaqalain means man and jinn. Judgment is only upon man and jinn. Surah 78 verse 40. What will he cry out? Surah 78 verse 40. Ya laytani kuntu turaba. Woe be unto me, I wish I was dust. Surah 78 verse 40. This is another evidence to prove to you that Judgment Day is a day of grief, sorrow and regret. You shall regret many things, and you will make bara. Those who did haram in the dunya and they were brothers in kufr, they shall blame each other on the day of judgment. Did you know that? People who were brothers in kufr, shirk and zandaqa, hypocrisy, heresy, zulm, oppression, they shall blame each other on the day of judgment, and they will wash their hands of each other on the day of judgment. Baqarah 167. The wicked scholars will wash the hands of their students and said, I did not pass any dodgy fatwas for you. You are on your own. I don't know you. The wicked scholars will wash their hands of all their students. Baqarah 167. Then the students will say, if only Allah gave us one chance, if only we are given one chance to go back to the dunya so that we can disown our scholars the way they disown us today on the day of judgment. Baqarah 167. All these are many evidences I'm bringing to you to prove to you that Judgment Day is a day of grief and regret. He indeed led me astray from the reminder, the Quran, after it had come to me, and the Shaitan is to man ever the deserter in the hour of need. So he is blaming his friend and said, my friend kept me away from my deen. My question to you is, you are blaming, Surah Al-Furqan verse 29, you are blaming your friend. لَقَدْ أَضَلَّنِي عَنِ الذِّكْرَ. My friend kept me away from my deen, my dhikr, the Quran, and caused me to be ended up in hellfire. My question to you is, if you know that you are a wimp, you are weak, and you cannot say no, why didn't you stick with good Muslims? Some of you, you have a weak personality. If a person invites you for weed, you smoke the weed. If they invite you to drink, you drink. If they invite you to go to bed, you go to bed with them. You cannot say no. Many of you are like that. You are weak. If you know that you have a weak personality, why don't you mix with good Muslims who will only invite you to do good? Allah told you in Surah Tawbah verse 119, يَذِنَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَقُولُوا مَعَ الصَّادِقِينَ. Oh, you believe, fear Allah and be in the company of the real Muslims, the true Muslims. Allah is telling us in the Quran what you will say on Judgment Day. You'll blame your friend. I said, my friend kept me away from the deen, the dhikra. My question to you is, if you know that you're a weak person with a weak personality and you don't know how to say no, if a person build you a spliff, you smoke the ganja, the weed. It's called the spliff. If a person invites you to nightclub, you go. If a person invites you back to his flat for zina, you go. Or her flat for zina, you go. Her apartment. If you know that you are weak, why don't you follow Allah's commandment in the Quran? Surah Al-Furqan 119. Or you believe, fear Allah, be afraid of Allah, and be in the company of the real Muslims. If you have a car and the battery is flat, no power, you need jump leads, and then you ask your Muslim brother, give me a jump start, or even your Christian neighbor. The power from their battery will come to your battery, so you can start your car and you can go to work. Then you won't be late for work. You got a jump start with your jump leads. Similarly, if you know that your iman is flat, your iman is weak, your iman is what? Flat. You need to be in the company of strong Muslims so that you can grow in iman. Your iman needs a boost the way you use jump leads to start your car because your battery was flat. You need power from another battery. Likewise, you need to be in the company of strong Muslims to give your iman a boost. And it's because of this reality Allah said in Surah Al-Furqan 119, O you believe, fear Allah and be in the company of the righteous Muslims. The real Muslims, not the fake Muslims who make a mockery of Quran and Sunnah. These hypocrites, when you are going to pray, they said, oh, pray. What do they say? Oh, pray for me. You are going to pray? Pray for me. And they will never pray. They make a mockery of Quran and Sunnah. Stay away from those people. You need to make bara from them. Because the Prophet said you belong to the religion of your friend. Then Allah Ta'ala said, the Shaitan to man is ever the deserter in your hour of need. Ayah 29. وَكَانَ الشَّيْطَانُ لِلْإِنسَانِ خَذُولًا. خَذُولًا. What is khazula? A friend who abandons you in your hour of need. Khazul. A friend who abandons you in your hour of need. Now I'm going to give you an example of how the Shaitan abandons someone in his hour of need. Do you remember the battle of Badr? The Shaitan hype up Quraysh, inveigled Quraysh, encouraged Quraysh, convinced Quraysh. Go and fight against Muhammad. لا غالب لكم اليوم من الناس. No army on the face of the world, no army in the world can defeat you. Surah 8 verse 48. Bring me the ayah. Surah 8 verse 48. وإذ زين لهم الشيطان أعمالهم وقال لا غالب لكم اليوم من الناس. And remember when the Shaitan made their evil deeds fair seeming to them, and said to them, no one of mankind can overcome you today at Badr. And verily I am your neighbor. وَإِنِّي جَارَكُمْ, I will be your neighbor. The same way your neighbor is fixed beside you, he can't pick up his house and leave just like that. Your neighbor is fixed. The Shaitan said, I am your neighbor, meaning I will be there. I will be there for you in thickness and in thin, in prosperity and in adversity. I will be there for you in adversity and in felicity. That's his promise he made to Quraysh. The 17th of Ramadan, he made a promise. فَلَمَّا تَرَاءَتْ الْفِئَتَانِ. But when the Shaitan saw the two forces came in sight of each other, he ran away and said, verily, I have nothing to do with you. I am innocent of you. I wash my hands of you. The Shaitan did a runner. That's British English. I can't remember what the Americans would say. When a person run away from a fight, what would the Americans say? I can't remember. In the UK, we say the Shaitan, he did a runner. He ran away. And he washed his hands of Quraysh and said, you are on your own because I can see things that you cannot see. The angel Gabriel is coming with 1,000 angels to fight alongside the Muslims. You don't stand a chance. Therefore, I'm out of here. I think that's what the Americans will say. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. In the UK, they said, I'm going to do a runner. Now, why did I bring you this incident found in Surah 8, verse 48? To prove to you that the Shaitan, he likes to hype up people, inveigle you, hype you up, convince you, encourage you And when things come down to the nitty-gritty, okay, that's Jamaican English. The nitty-gritty, when things finally simmer down, he won't be around to stick around. That's the Shaitan for you. He is what? Khadul. What is a Khadul? A person who abandons you in your hour of need. He did the same thing, the exact same thing, to Quraysh at the Battle of Badr. When he saw the angel Gabriel coming, he did a runner, he washed his hands of Quraysh and said, you are on your own, I can see things that you cannot see. The angel Gabriel is coming with 1,000 angels. You don't stand a chance today at Badr against the Muslims. You are finished. History has a strange way of repeating itself. Bush said, I could hear a voice telling me to invade Iraq. He invaded Iraq and he claimed there are weapons of mass destruction. No weapons of mass destruction were found, and over 50,000 Americans went back with no legs, no hands, no feet, no legs, some of them no private parts because of IED. Some of them died in the war and they died as kuffar. Therefore, they born in vain, live in vain, and died in vain because they died for a war which is a big lie. And they died as kuffar to be in the hellfire to abide forever and ever. Then Bush invaded Afghanistan. Because the kuffar, their behavior is very, very predictable. They like to spread themselves thin because they see themselves as a superpower. Napoleon spread himself thin. Adolf Hitler spread himself thin. And Bush spread himself thin to destroy the American economy. When Clinton was in office, you had homeless people, but very few. Now, when Bush took over, thousands of homeless people. Some of them are hungry. One of them ate up the face of another man in Florida. A black man ate the face of a white man. Both of them were homeless. And the black man ate the face of the white man. 80% of his face, because he was starving. You think he's going to starve to death and a man is beside him? He's going to eat the man who is beside him. He said, why should I starve to death? A white man is beside me, I'm going to eat the white man. That's what the black man said to himself. The cops shot him in his head. He was killed. Can you imagine the amount of evil people the American police have to kill? I think they have thousands more to kill. Murderers and rapists and thieves, drug smugglers, cannibals, pedophiles. The American police, they have many more people to kill. Devil worshippers who kidnap people and cut their stomach open and take out their liver, their kidney, and chew it, and to do black magic. The American police have many, many more people to kill to make America safe. Not only this cannibal who ate the face of a white man in Florida. They claim he was on drugs, that's why he ate the man's face. He ate the face because he was a cannibal and he was starving. So why is it that you have a man in America, I'm speaking and nobody brought the link? What is happening? Where's the link about the man who ate the man's face? Why no admin brought the link? Never mind, we continue with our Tafseer. So why is it that you have homeless people in America, thousands, maybe millions, Allahu Alam? When Clinton was in office, only a few homeless people. When Bush came to office, you have thousands of homeless people. Why? Because Bush destroyed the economy. He ruined the economy. He spreads himself thin. With wars and rumors of wars, the white man is very predictable. He likes to start a war and get stuck in a quagmire with no exit strategy. That is the white man. He gets stuck in a quagmire with no exit strategy. Today, somebody sent me a link. They said they killed Abu Yahya al-Libi, the Libyan Abu Yahya, number 2 of the Al-Qaeda movement, the second in command after Ayman al-Zawahiri. Killing Al-Qaeda operatives will not stop this war which is happening in Afghanistan. Killing Al-Qaeda operatives. Okay, shukran for bringing the link. Killing Al-Qaeda operatives will not take you out of a quagmire. The damage has already been done. You are in a quagmire. because you spread yourself too thin. The reason why you spread yourself thin is because the Shaitan convinces you you're a superpower. What did the Shaitan say to Quraysh at the Battle of Badr? لا غالب لكم اليوم من الناس. There is no army in the world can defeat you. He said that to Quraysh. What do you mean no army in the world can defeat Quraysh? What about the Persians? What about the Romans? They can defeat Quraysh. They were the so-called superpowers at that time when the battle took place. Now why did I quote you this ayah, Surah 8 verse 48, to prove to you that Shaitan, he likes to exaggerate. He likes to exaggerate and makes you think you have power that doesn't exist. The Shaitan has the ability to make you think you have power and the power doesn't really exist. He said that to Quraysh, لا غالب لكم اليوم من الناس. Surah 8 verse 48. He said the same thing to Russia. You are a superpower, go and invade Afghanistan. Whereas the USSR today, the USSR is in the dustbin of history. The Shaitan said the same thing to Bush. Invade Iraq and Afghanistan simultaneously. You are a superpower. For you to defeat them is a piece of cake. And look what happened to America. Now the economy is destroyed and they are stuck with a quagmire with no exit strategy. So why the Russians were destroyed and why the USA, the economy is destroyed? Because Allah told you in the Quran, the Shaitan, وَكَانَ الشَّيْطَانُ لِلْإِنسَانِ خَذُولًا. The Shaitan is always a person, an individual who abandons you at your time of need. No one of mankind can overcome you this day at battle. Look what the Shaitan said. مِنَ النَّاسِ. In the whole world, nobody can defeat you. Didn't you run away from Quraysh when you saw the angel Gabriel coming with 1,000 angels? Didn't you run away, you the Shaitan? Didn't you wash your hands of Quraysh and said you are on your own because I can see things that you can't? The leaders of Mecca, Utbah Shayba, Umayyah, weren't they all killed at Badr? And the reason why the Prophet told his Sahabas to jihad is because the Prophet was acting upon an ayah found in Surah Al-Furqan verse 12. The Prophet told his Sahabas, kill the leaders of Mecca when you go to Badr. This is an instruction found in Tawbah verse 12. What's the instruction? فَقَاتِلُوا أَئِمَّةَ الْكُفْرِ. Fight the leaders of Kufr. Surah Tawbah verse 12. The chiefs of Quraysh, the pagans of Mecca. For surely their oaths are nothing to them. فَقَاتِلُوا أَئِمَّةَ الْكُفْرِ. Fight the leaders of Kufr. This is a commandment from Allah in the Quran. Do you know why? If you are on the battlefield with the kuffar and you take out their generals, the general is called the think tank. He makes all the decisions because the other soldiers are foot soldiers. They are like a spoon, they have no say. A spoon doesn't say what it wants to do, a spoon is used by somebody else. If you take out the think tank, how can they win the war? They become headless chickens. So when you take out the think tank, they become headless chickens. It's because of this Allah said in Tawbah 12, فَقَاتِلُوا أَئِمَّةَ الْكُفْرِ. Fight the leaders of Kufr. The Prophet acted upon this ayah, this commandment at the Battle of Badr, and it proved effective. It proved effective and useful and fruitful. So he stood over the dead bodies, the dead carcasses of the leaders of Kufr, called them Umayyah. Do you find the promise of Allah to be true? Verily, I find the promise of my Lord to be true. Omar said, O Messenger of Allah, you are speaking to dead bodies, they can't hear you. The Prophet said, O Omar, they can hear me just like you hear me, but they can't. O Omar, they can hear me just like you hear me. These dead people, they can hear me just like you hear me, but they can't answer me. Am I and Mike can hear me? I'm talking about listening. I don't see notes on the board. Can you hear me? Am I and Mike? Okay, shukran. We continue with our tafsir. So, his modus operandi, Allah, is that He will abandon you at all times in your time of need. Okay, he replied, you do not hear better than they, but they cannot reply. Okay, shukran for the hujjah. Okay, shukran, that was quick. The Prophet said to Omar, you do not hear me better than they, but they can't reply. This is one of the hadith we use to checkmate the grave worshippers who believe that the dead can reply. The dead can't reply. The dead, their faculty is limited. And when you do not make a difference between the life of the dunya and the life of the barzakh, you become a deviant. The life of the world is called dunya and the life of the grave is called the barzakh. You have to make a difference between them. If not, you will become a grave worshipper like the Shiites and the Bareilwis and the Goofy Sufis. I don't know how some of you can call Shiites your brothers. And their Aqidah is so dodgy. The Shiites believe that Ali captured the Shaitan. Ali ibn Abi Talib captured the Shaitan. And then Ali let him go because the Shaitan said to Ali, I love you. Look at the Aqidah of the Shiites. Ali captured the Shaitan. And then Ali let the Shaitan go because the Shaitan said to Ali, I love you. The Shiites, they don't realize that this is hujjah against them, not for them. Because if the Shaitan loves a person, it means the person is not a good person. Where is the Shiite hujjah? The Shiite said Ali captured the Shaitan, and then Ali let the Shaitan go because the Shaitan said to Ali, I love you. Okay, bring me that Shiite hujjah. This is not, it's not wise to speak like that. You the Shiites, you are a brain dead retard. Because if the Shaitan loves, the Shia loves Ali, that means Ali wasn't a good person. So your statement doesn't make sense. Okay, shukran for bringing the hujjah, authentic Tawheed 19. Shia's love for Shaitan. There was an Ayatollah who was insulting the Sahabas, making takfir in the Sahabas, and they found gay porn on his laptop. An Ayatollah recently who was insulting the Sahabas, they found gay porn on his laptop. So Allah disgraced them in this life and the next life. And the messenger Muhammad will say, O my Lord, verily my people deserted this Quran, neither listened to it nor acted on its laws and teachings. So the Rasul is concerned about his ummah, and he will complain to Allah that his people, or you found the link about the gay Ayatollah with gay porn on his laptop. That was quick. Okay, shukran. That was very quick. Shukran for bringing the link. Brothers and sisters can go and click on the link and go and look for yourself. I don't want you to think Shaikh Faisal is a liar and a slanderer. The Shiites already think I lie on them in my room. The Rasul is concerned with his ummah, so he complains to Allah, O my Lord, verily my people deserted this Quran, they neither listened to it nor acted to its laws and teachings. Now, how many of you, if you are traveling from London to Birmingham, from New York to Connecticut, from Chicago to Ohio, in your car, would you listen to the Quran or would you listen to music? Because the Prophet Muhammad complains to Allah, my ummah, they don't listen to Quran and they don't act according to the Quran. Would you listen to music on the journey or would you listen to Quran? I'm putting you on the spot. What will you listen to when you are on a journey, a long journey? 3 hours, 5 hours? Because the Prophet complained to Allah, we don't listen to the Quran. And the Prophet complained to Allah, we don't act according to the Quran. He, Muhammad, was the walking Quran. Are you the walking Quran? Do you backbite? Do you gossip? Do you lie? Do you drink alcohol? Do you commit zina? Do you gamble in casinos? Are you the walking Quran? Are you a slanderer and a talebearer? Because the Prophet said, La yadkhulu jannah an-namam. A talebearer will never go to paradise. A talebearer will never go to the paradise. The Rasul complained to Allah, my ummah, they don't listen to the Quran and they don't practice the Quran. How many of you, if you are going to borrow money from your Muslim brother, would you put it in writing and call 2 witnesses? Would you do that? Many of you, when you borrow money, you don't want it in writing. The longest ayah in the Quran is talking about money. Why the longest ayah in the Quran is talking about money? Because people kill each other for money. Didn't you know that? Don't you know people kill each other every day for power, sex, and money? These are the 3 fitna. The longest ayah in the Quran is talking about money. Why? Because people kill each other every day for money. And there are many people, when they want to borrow your money, they don't want to write it down. No, why they don't want to write it down? And the ayah is Baqarah 282, the longest ayah. Baqarah 282 talks about money. He doesn't want to write it down that he's borrowing your money because his intention is not to pay it back. The Holy Prophet said, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, anybody who gets married to a girl with the intention not to give her the dowry, he's fornicating with the girl. And any man who borrows money of his Muslim brother not to pay it back, he is a thief. Okay, bring me the hadith. I repeat the hadith. The man who gets married to a girl with the intention not to pay the dowry is fornicating with the girl. And the man who borrows money with the intention not to pay back the money is nothing but a thief. Ibn Hibban collected the hadith, volume 2, page 261. So even though Allah told you in Baqarah 282 to write down your debts and call 2 witnesses, many of you, when you borrow money, you don't want to pay it back. Because you borrow the money with the intention not to pay it back. The Prophet complained to Allah, my ummah, they don't listen to the Quran and they don't practice the Quran. Why the Prophet complained to Allah? Because the Prophet wants you to be the walking Quran. He, Muhammad, wants you to be the walking Quran the way he was the walking Quran. So because of that, he complained to Allah, my ummah, they don't listen to the Quran and they don't act according to the Holy Quran. Thus have we made for every prophet an enemy among the mujrimun, the disbelievers, but sufficient is your Lord as a guide and a helper. Allah said in Ayah 31, every prophet has enemy. But Allah is sufficient to help His Prophet and to guide His Prophet. So even though Musa had Qarun as his enemy, Allah helped him. Because he paid a prostitute to say Musa had an affair with her. He paid a woman a large sum of money to say Musa had an affair with her. And Allah helped Musa against Qarun. Because Allah told Musa, I gave you command over the earth. And Musa commanded the earth to swallow him up. His wealth and his house in front of the people. Musa didn't panic when he paid the woman money to slander his name. Because Allah helped Musa. Allah Ta'ala said, even though all the prophets have their enemies, وَكَفَى بِرَبِّكَ هَادِيًا وَنَصِيرًا. Your Lord is sufficient as a hadi to guide you to the Sirat al-Mustaqim. And your Lord, Sirat al-Mustaqim means the straight path. And your Lord is sufficient as a Nasir, a helper, to help you against these kuffar who plot and plan against the truth. In another view that all prophets have enemies, Surah 6:112. Like I told you, I can use Quran to explain Quran because one ayah resembles another ayah. Surah 6:112. What did Allah say in Surah 6:112? وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَا لِكُلِّ نَبِيٍّ عَدُوًّا شَيَاطِينَ الْإِنسِ وَالْجِنِّ يُوحِي بَعْضُهُمْ إِلَى بَعْضٍ زُخْرُفَ الْقَوْلِ غُرُورًا وَلَوْ شَاءُوا فَذَرْهُمْ وَمَا يَفْتَرُونَ. And so we have appointed for every prophet enemies, shayateen from among mankind, the ins, shayateen from among the jinn, inspiring one another with beautiful speech, adorned speech, as a delusion by way of deception. If your Lord had willed, they would not have done it. So leave them alone with their fabrications. This is another ayah to prove to you that every prophet has his enemies who plot and plan against the truth. Shayateen al-ins, shayateen al-jinn. Shayateen from among the humans, shayateen from among the human beings, and shayateen from among the jinn. And they help each other. And they inspire each other with beautiful speech by way of deception. But Allah is sufficient to help His Prophet against these shayateen from among the ins and the jinn. The Prophet had Abu Jahl as his enemy. What happened to him? He died like a dog at the Battle of Badr. And the leader of Mecca became Abu Sufyan. Abu Sufyan embraced Islam. So because Allah is the helper of Muhammad, the whole of the Arabian Peninsula took Shahada before Muhammad died. And this is the meaning of the ayah, وَلَسَوْفَ يُؤْتِيكَ رَبُّكَ فَتَرْضَى. Your Lord shall give unto you, O Muhammad, until you are completely satisfied. Before the angel of death pays you a visit, you will live to, because your greatest enemies will take Shahada. Inshallah ta'ala, I'll stop here for today. I'll take 5 questions to the tafseer I've just heard. Men and jinn will be judged, but what about the hadith of the 2 rams? Would the animals also be judged and then become dust? Just like the kuffar, deeds will also be weighed, but they will be turned to dust. Please comment. When I say that only man and jinn will be judged, I meant only man and jinn will be dumped into the hellfire for the evil deeds they used to perpetrate, because animals will not be dumped into the hellfire. Allah will say, become dust. Kuffar, they wish they will be like the animals. He will cry out, Surah 78, verse 40, Ya laytani kuntu turaba, woe unto me, I wish I become dust. So when I say only man and jinn will be judged, means at-thaqalain. It means because man and jinn had a free will, animals didn't have a free will, and angels don't have a free will. It's thaqalain that has a free will, man and jinn. So it's thaqalain, man and jinn, that will be dumped into the hellfire because of the haram they used to perpetrate. That is what I meant when I say only man and jinn will be judged. Animals won't be dumped into the hellfire, they will become dust. Next question, please. I'm taking 5 questions. When someone goes to a grave saying, Oh Allah, I ask you by the virtue of so and so, is this shirk or bid'ah? Why do Shia and Sufis do this tawassul and invoke the dead for help instead of asking Allah? To invoke the dead is shirk that makes you become a kafir. And you can't give the excuse of ignorance to a person who invokes the dead. That's not permissible. Because there is no excuse of ignorance for invoking others other than Allah. Because you nullify the Shahada, La ilaha illallah. Nothing deserves to be worshipped but Allah. And you nullify kind of things. Oh Allah, I ask of you by the virtue of Muhammad, by the glory of Muhammad, that is called bid'ah. This type of tawassul is called bid'ah. If you want to do tawassul, you do tawassul by calling upon Allah with His 99 names and attributes. Or you do tawassul by asking a righteous man to pray for you, the way Omar asked Abbas to pray for the Ummah and Allah sent the rain. You can do tawassul by promising Allah, by saying, "Oh Allah, if you help me from my calamity, if you get rid of my dire straits, I will fast 3 days for you or 10 days for you." Number 4, you can do tawassul by mentioning a righteous deed you did in the past, like the 3 men who were in the cave and the rock came and blocked the mouth of the cave. And one of them said, "I had laborers and I paid them their wages, I didn't cheat them, so let the rock move." And the rock moved, but not enough for them to get out. The other one said, "I abstained from zina for your sake, so let the rock move." And the rock moved a little, but not enough for them to get out. The other one said, "I looked after my parents when they became old, so let the rock move." And then the rock moved, and all 3 got out. They did tawassul with a pious deed they did many years in the past. So these are the tawassuls that are permissible. And the 5th type of tawassul is to draw near to Allah with your righteous deeds and good character. These are the 5 halal types of tawassul. Any other type of tawassul is bid'ah. Shaykh, can we wear t-shirts that have images of living beings but we cover them? What about when we pray? It is haram to pray in t-shirts that have pictures of living beings. Salah in that t-shirt is batil. You can only sleep in those t-shirts. You are allowed to sleep in those t-shirts but not to pray in them. If you cover them over when you pray, the salah is accepted. If you didn't cover them over when you pray, the salah is not accepted. And when you buy clothes for kids, it's always better you buy clothes without images, because you hang these clothes in the home and it will chase away the angels. It's always best you buy kids' clothes that have no images with eyes. Images with eyes. Some of you Muslim parents, when you buy kids' clothes, you buy clothes with images with eyes. It's always better you abstain from these clothing, because you hang them in the home and they chase away the angels because of their eyes. Bring the questions. I'll take 6 questions, I don't mind. How many questions do you have? Narrated Aisha, I purchased. Narrated Aisha, I purchased the pictures. In order for the image to be haram, it has to be images with eyes. Without eyes, it's not haram. If the image has no eyes, it's not haram. What makes it haram is the eyes. I hope I made myself clear. If the images have no eyes, it's not haram. It's only haram because of the eyes. I began wear the niqab about a month ago, and Muslims that know me call me a ninja. Those who call you a ninja, they became kuffar because they make a mockery of Quran and Sunnah. To call a Muslim a ninja because of niqab, you become a kafir. And the evidence is Surah Tawbah, verse 65 to 66. قُلْ أَبِاللَّهِ وَآيَاتِهِ وَرَسُولِهِ كُنْتُمْ تَسْتَهْزِئُونَ. Say, is it Allah and His ayahs, His Rasul, you are making a mockery of? Don't seek to find excuses. You have become kafirs after you had Iman. So Tawbah 65 to 66 says, when you call a Muslim sister a ninja, you become a kafir. Also, kafirs say to their girlfriend, "Oh, why don't you wear that looking at me?" And they say, "This is ridiculous. I know I am on the straight path and I am doing the right thing." What should I tell the Muslims when they tell me this? Also, I believe that the Muslims are misguided. Please describe this. I've already answered the question. It is haram to make a mockery of Quran and Sunnah. Therefore, show them the ayah, Tawbah 65 to 66. If you call a Muslim with a beard a billy goat, the ram with the goat with the beard, or you call a Muslim woman with niqab the ninja, you are mocking a symbol of Islam, and this makes you become a kafir. Even though we have covered what makes you a kafir, the 25 things that make you a kafir, there are people who are apostating without realizing it. You have brought me Tawbah 65 and 66. Make no excuses. You have disbelieved after you had believed. That's the ayah the scholars used to say, when you laugh at something of Islam, a symbol of Islam, you become a kafir. Say, was it Allah and His ayah and His messenger that you were mocking? Make no excuse, you have disbelieved after you had believed. That's the ayah. So those relatives and friends who are mocking you, their situation is pitiful, appalling, and pathetic because they became kuffar without realizing it. The evidence is Tawbah 65 to 66. When you mock an aspect of Islam, a symbol of Islam, like the beard or the niqab or the hijab, you become a kafir. In the story of the boy and the king was a sheikh that thought the boy in sin because he didn't go out and give dawah openly. The reason why the sheikh disappeared in a cave is because he realized if he opened his mouth and joined the right and forbid the wrong, they're going to chop off his head. So he didn't want to be a wicked scholar and stay in the palace of the king and justify his kufr and shirk. So what he did, he separated himself in a cave because the king was brutal. And if he should open his mouth to enjoin the right and forbid the wrong, the king will kill him. So he had the option. Either you become a wicked scholar and justify the tyranny of the king, or you open your mouth and correct the king and get your head chopped off. He didn't want his head to be chopped off, so he separated himself in a cave because he could not change this status quo. He wasn't sinful. He would have been sinful if he justified the kufr and the shirk of the king. That's when he would have been sinful. To justify the tyranny of the tyrants and the oppression of the oppressors. That's when he would have been sinful. That's when he would have become a wicked scholar. But he made bara from the king, went away in the cave by himself because he realized he could not change this status quo. How do we reconcile Surah 12 verse 87 with the hadith of the one who ordered his family to burn his body and scatter the ashes, thinking this would help him to escape the judgment? Now, Surah 12 verse 87, that's the ayah where Yaqub said to his sons, do not give up from Allah's mercy. No one despairs except Al-Kafirun. This man who told his family to burn his body, he was jahil in regards to Allah's 99 names and attributes, and he didn't realize one of Allah's names is Al-Qadir, Al-Qadir, the one who has power over all things. He was trying to limit Allah by telling his family to burn his body and scatter the ashes. He doesn't realize Allah can bring him back to life. He was jahil about Allah's name and attribute, Al-Qadir, the one who has power over all things. But he was fearful of Allah's punishment. So because he was fearful of Allah's punishment, Allah forgave him of his sin and gave him the paradise. If a person despairs, it doesn't make him, it doesn't mean that he's a kafir. If he thinks Allah won't forgive me, it doesn't mean he's a kafir. It means that he's been sinful. And when Yaqub said to his sons, the kafirun, they despair of Allah's mercy, Yaqub meant every kafir knows that there is no hope for him. Even the gay knows there is no hope for him, and the atheist. So for you to despair of Allah's mercy as a Muslim, you are behaving like a kafir. The Buddhist despairs. The Hindu who drinks his own urine and worships Ram, Sita, Hanuman, he despairs. Because they know that there is no hope for them. But they can't embrace Islam due to pride. So the kafirun despairs of Allah's mercy because they realize there is no portion in the hereafter for them. They are finished. You're a believer, you believe in Allah, His Messenger. You believe in the deen. So how can you despair of Allah's mercy when you have in your heart, La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah? If you die upon that, La ilaha illallah, there is hope for you to enter the paradise. So leave the despairing to kuffar. You don't despair because in your heart is La ilaha illallah. So you are not allowed to despair. Let the kafirs despair. There is no hope for them. But because in your heart is La ilaha illallah, you are not allowed to despair because Allah forgives everything except shirk. Surah Nisa, verse 48. Inna Allah la yaghfir an yushraka bihi wa yaghfir ma duna dhalika liman yasha. Allah doesn't forgive shirk, but Allah will forgive any other crime to whom He please. Was that the last question? Did Musa defeat Qarun after Pharaoh? It appears as if it was before, but your question needs research. It appears as if it was before the Pharaoh, but your question needs research. The Pharaoh and Qarun, they lived in the time of Prophet Musa. They belonged to the Ummah of Musa. So even though the Pharaoh was a kafir, he belonged to the Ummah of Musa, and Nimrod belonged to the Ummah of Ibrahim, and Abu Jahl belonged to the Ummah of Muhammad. Meaning they lived in the time of those prophets, and it was compulsory on them to believe in those prophets. What about kids who wear dinosaur t-shirt from photographs father bought it? These t-shirts are not Islamic. It's imitating the kuffar. When you buy clothes for kids, it shouldn't have any pictures in it, because these clothes are hung sometimes in the home, and they are worn in the home. The kids walk around with the t-shirts in the home with pictures on it, and you chase away the angels from the home. So t-shirts with pictures with eyes, this is not Islamic clothing. That is called imitating the kuffar. So clothing with pictures with eyes, these are not halal clothing. Maybe it's my fault. I should have done a speech, a fiqh lesson about clothing, the Muslim clothing for males and females. Walking around the home with shirts, whether you are an adult or a kid, with pictures on it with eyes, it's not Islamic, because you are driving away the angels. Angels don't enter homes where there are pictures. To wear t-shirts with faces on it, that is called imitating the kuffar. A Muslim is supposed to wear plain clothing, not clothing with pictures. And when you buy kids' clothing, you should buy kids' clothing with no pictures. You should buy plain clothing for your kids, not clothing with pictures. All that is a part and parcel of imitating the kuffar. My friend's daughter started to take off niqab after left school. Now she's at uni for a short time. Now she replied to a text I sent her asking me to not send her forward text from Quran and Hadith. What should I do or say to her to help her? She started having Chinese friends at uni. She now doesn't wear any hijab or jilbab. I told you a million times that Darul Harb turned people into low-life scums of the earth. Darul Harb destroys the Muslims. Some of them start to commit zina, some of them start to drink alcohol and to smoke weed, and some of them abandon salah. And these Muslim parents, they live in Darul Harb because they said we want our kids to get the best education. They should go to the best universities in the world, in Europe and America, the best universities. But it's unfortunate that many of them are losing their kids. And this girl, she is young and impressionable, and she needs to be counseled. She needs counseling by a local sheikh for her to come back in the deen, because she's on the verge of apostasy. Darul Harb turned people into low-life scums of the earth. A woman came on Pal Talk and she went to a room, oxymoron, and bragged about having Jewish boyfriends, a Turkish Muslim living in America. Brag about committing zina with Jews. That's what Darul Harb turned people into. A low-life scum of the earth, and they brag about their sins with no haya, no shame. Why don't you make hijrah from Darul Harb if your situation is so pitiful, appalling, and pathetic? And Mike, can you hear me? I hope I didn't get cut off. This girl who goes to university and she takes off her hijab and her jilbab, she needs counseling because she's on the verge of apostasy, and this is what Darhab does to people. It turns you into a low-life scum of the earth. Only the strong survive, the weak fall by the wayside. That is the reality of Darhab. Only the strong survive, the weak fall by the wayside. She's on the verge of apostasy. She's on the verge of apostasy. Only the strong survive in Darhab, the weak fall by the wayside. What if Muslims recite Quran using it to make people laugh? And I say to them not to use Quran as fun. The person who uses the Quran to make people laugh has become a kafir outside the fold of Islam. And the evidence is Surah Nisa 140. Surah Nisa 140 tells you you are not allowed to sit at a gathering where the Quran is being ridiculed. If you sit at that gathering, Surah Nisa 140, you become a kafir like them. The person who uses the Quran to make others laugh, he has become a kafir, he's a munafiq and a murtad. And those who laugh at the Quran, they are kuffar as well. The evidence is Surah Nisa 140, in which Allah said, وَقَدْ نَزَّلَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الْكِتَابِ أَنْ إِذَا سَمِعْتُمْ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ يُكْفَرْ بِهَا وَيُسْتَهْزَوْ بِهَا فَلَا تَقْعَدُوا مَعْهُمْ حَتَّى يَخُوضُوا فِي حَدِيثٍ غَيْرِهِ إِنَّكُمْ إِذًا مِثْلُهُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ جَامِعُ الْمُنَافِقِينَ وَالْكَافِرِينَ فِي جَهَنَّمَ جَمِيعًا. And it has already been revealed to you in the book, this Quran, that when you hear the verses of Allah being denied and ridiculed, being mocked at, then sit not with them until they engage in a talk other than that. But if you stayed with them, you sit with them, certainly in that case you would be like them. Surely Allah will collect the hypocrites and the disbelievers all together in hellfire. Surah Nisa 140 tells you you are not allowed to sit at a gathering where Allah's sign is ridiculed. People make a mockery of Quran. In that case, you become a kafir. So this person who used the Quran to make others laugh, his situation is pitiful, appalling, and pathetic. He's a kafir without realizing it. And those who laugh at the Quran, they are kuffar as well. I think that was the last question. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.